The Halloran Lab is the result of a generous gift from Trustee Emeritus Todd Halloran and his family. Todd's an '84 Colby graduate and Harvard Business School graduate who spent the majority of his career investing in and working with accomplished business leaders and entrepreneurs and their growing companies. Spanning decades, Todd's generosity to Colby has empowered generations of students to enrich their education, change their life trajectories, and innovate for the greater good. His involvement with Colby includes establishing the Halloran Family Faculty Research Endowment Fund in 2010, as well as serving as a trustee from 2006 to 2012. He has also worked on the College Relations Visiting Committee, the President's Advisory Committee, chaired the Nominating Committee and the Alumni Fund Committee, and made a significant contribution to the Alumni Center. He's quite prolific and active, and we can't thank him enough. Todd is currently a senior advisor at Freeman Spogli & Company, a private equity firm that partners with management in US-based consumer-related growth businesses. I'm thrilled that Todd is with us today, whose generosity and vision made all of this possible. Todd will provide you with his inspiration for providing the founding gift to launch the Halloran Lab and his vision for what we hope to build here at Colby. Sorry, if this is any indication, this is going to be a little weighty. I apologize. There's a lot to get through. We're really excited to tell you all about what we're up to. We're also fortunate to have Eric Paley here today to provide our keynote address. Eric is a proud parent to a Colby freshman, whose name I won't mention for fear of embarrassing her. Eric is a partner at Founder Collective, a seed-stage venture capital fund based in Cambridge, Mass. And Soho, New York. Eric has led Founder Collective's investments into numerous companies, some of which you may or may not have heard of, likely, like Uber, Cruise, Airtable, Whoop, and The Trade Desk. Previously, Eric founded Brontes Technologies, a 3D imaging company spun out of MIT and acquired by 3M. He's been named to the Forbes Midas list of top venture capitalists 5 times. Eric's going to share with you 6 lessons from a career in innovation. Then I'm going to spend some time walking you through everything we're up to at the Halloran Lab, how you can engage, how we're here to support you. And then we get to the fun part. Wyatt Toon, co-founder of Ivano Energy, our 2024 Venture Showcase winner, will walk you through he and his co-founder Yusuf Mustafa's summer of building. What happens when the lights dim on a pitch competition and you've moved from an idea to some funding in hand? Well, pardon my language, but that's when shit gets real. Moving from an idea to execution isn't easy, but that's where the real learning begins. That's when the highs and lows, the pivots, the setbacks and successes of entrepreneurship take shape. We look forward to learning more about Anava's summer journey. Next, we'll hear the inspiring story of Vibachu Thapa Chetri and Joe Grassi, who are Davis Project for Peace winners and spent their summer working to improve internet access in rural Nepal communities, to empower farmers, to better use technology to market their goods, to connect with customers, and to improve their livelihood. Vibachu and Joe didn't receive grant funding from the Halloran Lab last year, but I certainly hope that they will continue to pursue this inspiring work and that they will attend our workshop on October 2nd, focused on starting nonprofits and raising money for nonprofits. We'll have 5 founders of nonprofits at that workshop at varying stages of their development who are serving diverse populations through a diversity of missions, and they'll share their best practices and experiences for starting and growing their organizations. We hope Vibachu and Joe will attend, and that they and any other aspiring nonprofit or social enterprise founders in the audience will leverage the lab's mentorship network and grant funding to support their innovation path. As I said last year when we launched, our goal at the Halloran Lab is to make innovation and entrepreneurship accessible to all students at Colby, no matter your background, experience, or career ambitions. And finally, we'll hear from Jack Richard, Amanda Miller, and Carter Fries, the leaders of our student-led innovation club. This club, which launched last spring, aims to foster creativity, innovation, and collaboration among students from all disciplines, encouraging participation from artists, entrepreneurs, and other interested individuals. A key goal of the Innovation Club is to increase diversity across entrepreneurial disciplines and to create an inclusive space for discussion. I'm thrilled now to introduce you to Todd Halloran. Again, Todd, thank you so much for supporting us with your generosity. We're thrilled to have you here today.
Thank you, Jeremy. I want to thank everyone for visiting campus on a beautiful, sunny July day. Joke. It's incredible, this weather. It is at least sunny, if not a little warm. Thank you again for having me, Jeremy, and I just want to say a few words about the vision that we have for the Halloran Lab, all the great things we've already accomplished in a short period of time, and what there is to come. First of all, when I had a conversation with David Green, probably now 2.5, 3 years ago, it was about how I would like to further engage with the college. And, we talked about a host of different things. And eventually we came to this topic, one of entrepreneurship. And I felt it was a component of the campus that was missing. And I'd seen some very successful similar centers across different universities across the country. And I thought, it's time. It's time for Colby to have this kind of initiative, this kind of community and campus involvement, and we're really excited what's been accomplished in a very short period of time due to, obviously, Jeremy's leadership, the support we get from everyone from the president, David Green, to Provost McFadden, other administration leaders, and the faculty. But most of all, thank you to the students, because you've engaged with us, you've engaged with this lab, you're showing up, you're helping spread the word across campus that this is something that is a lot of fun and challenging and inspirational. So thank you for that. The original mission of this lab was to promote entrepreneurial thinking, and I like to say it's not just entrepreneurship thinking, it's also entrepreneurship doing. And people are constantly coming up with creative ideas, solutions to solve problems, to take advantage of certain opportunities, and to work collaboratively with a team of people to pursue, a dream or an idea. And I think this lab is setting a foundation for establishing a place, a format, an ecosystem to facilitate all that creative thinking, all that work ethic, all that teamwork to really make this place, and after Colby, other places, a better world. So very importantly, we're trying to help build real world skills. We're teaching students how to collaborate. We're teaching students how to speak in public, how to support an idea, how to debate an idea, how to answer questions, sometimes cynical questions or skeptical questions. We're helping students to think about how do you solve problems, and do it in a way that improves people's lives, and along the way, not only building skills, but potentially, potentially there's a commercial opportunity that that could be substantial for folks. Although that's not always the initial and most important motivation, it is a fact of life. Entrepreneurship leads to some of the best elements of capitalism that are out there. Finally, I just want to say that in the first year, what Jeremy and his staff have successfully done is to, first of all, put this lab on the map in the Colby community among the alumni network. We had a very successful spring event. There's a lot, as you'll hear about, a lot more events that will take place this year. because we're just starting. Our vision is to generate, the best entrepreneurship center across liberal arts campuses throughout the United States. It's a bold ambition, but it's certainly within reach, and we're off to a great start. It's with incredible gratitude to, again, the college, the faculty, Jeremy, and you, the students, to get us to this point, and we're very excited about the future. So with that, I'll hand it back over to Jeremy. Thank you very much.
Always give out swag. That's another little lesson learned. Okay, next up we have a Colby parent and successful entrepreneur, Eric Paley.
First, I want to thank Todd for his incredible dedication to entrepreneurship at Colby, but also commend him on his very excellent Whoop band that he's wearing. He's going to find out later whether public speaking affects his strain. I will find out the same. But anyway, I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to be a new member of the Colby community. I thank my daughter Zoe, who is going to be named, and I know I'm embarrassing her, but for making that possible, because I'm just really excited about this community and also what Jeremy and his team are doing here around entrepreneurship at Colby. I've spent my entire career in innovation. I spent 1 year in consulting and 20 some odd years starting companies and being a venture capitalist since that time. So I spent a lot of time thinking about, well, what have I learned in that time? And it's actually hard because these are not, provable hard lessons that you can say definitively forevermore it's this or that. I live in a world as a venture capitalist of outliers. So we are looking for the exceptions to everything. So the danger in life is you start to believe in pattern matching for everything. And yet the danger of not believing in any pattern matching for anything is then what you're saying is I haven't learned anything throughout all of that. So the question is, well, what do I believe I've learned? And that's what I want to share, 6 lessons that I think are the things I could say I'm most confident about in my time in the innovation ecosystem through my career. So you got some background on me, founded a couple companies, founded one of the first seed stage venture capital funds. Seed stage meaning we invest at the very beginning, right? We invest in founders, teams, when they're just getting started and figuring out how they want to solve a problem in the market. We've been crazy fortunate to invest in some of the most game-changing companies of the last decade. And that's all credit to the entrepreneurs. I was lucky to find great people to back, and they did extraordinary things. And I'm going to use a whole bunch of them as examples, so I'll tell you a bit about those companies. And I've been lucky to be recognized for it, and it's just been an incredibly fortunate career. But what did I learn? All right, and one more thing is just to give you a bit of a window about Founder Collective. So we are a seed stage fund. Again, that means we invest in entrepreneurs very much at the beginning, usually the first professional capital they have in their companies. We're the folks you come to among our sort of peer group when you're first trying to raise money that goes beyond friends and family, right? And we have a mission. We're one of the only funds I know of, I'm not sure I've heard of another, that started with a mission statement day one. Our mission is to be the most aligned fund to founders at the seed stage. We found as entrepreneurs that capital gets very disconnected from the interests of founders. I'll give you some examples of that. And when that gets disconnected, you get out of alignment, it causes a lot of problems. And so we really started with this mission, and we work very hard every day to live up to it. It's been 15 years. It's been a good 15 years, I mentioned that. We've backed over 20 companies that have become billion-dollar companies. We've backed 3 that have become worth over 30 billion. So again, this is a real credit to those entrepreneurs. So here's lesson 1, and I think this runs counter to what most people think entrepreneurship's about. It is not about the idea. Ideas are a dime a dozen, right? Lots of people have ideas. Lots of people have the exact same idea that somebody else then starts and becomes an incredibly valuable company. So if it's not about the idea, what is it about? It's about obsessing with your customer's problem and trying to figure out the best way to solve that problem. When you're doing that, you actually have to find thousands of ideas. I don't mean different ideas, but thousands of different epiphanies that get you to actually doing a better job with that customer pain and ultimately the empathy you bring to that customer pain than anyone else. And the anecdote I use here is a company called Coupang. Coupang is now the largest e-commerce company in Korea. We invested in them in 2010 when the founder, Bom Kim, was a dropout student at Harvard Business School. So this is like student startup success story. It's now worth tens of billions, something around $50 billion. But he started out, it was at a time where there was a company called Groupon that some of you may know, and all of a sudden there was this crazy theme around Groupon clones. And 150 companies were funded to compete or do things like Groupon, which was crazy. We'll talk about themes and how venture capitalists cluster around themes later. But this crazy frenzy, and Bom Kim wanted to create the Groupon for Korea, right? And that's where he started. But he went to Korea and he started doing this work. He was from Korea, he went home. And as he understood the customer pain and started building empathy for the customer, he pivoted his business. He pivoted to something that looks a lot more like Amazon than Groupon. And ultimately, that led him to understand how to serve a customer through an age of mobile commerce better than any company in the world. And it became the best mobile commerce company in the world. It's still today. It's a very large, a very important public company. Here's lesson 2. So lesson 1, it's not about the idea, it's about understanding the problem and tremendous amount of empathy for the customer and putting a lot of effort towards solving that problem. Number 2, founders should love talking about the hard parts. Because most founders think it's about the idea, they love talking about how brilliant their idea is. The primary way we evaluate founders is by how obsessively they want to talk about the hard parts of what they're trying to do. So the point is, you're not supposed to have it all solved. But if you're really good at digging into the hard parts about what you do, you're gonna love when people ask you about that because it's all you obsess about, it's all you think about. And so now somebody's asking you about the thing you think about all the time. Like, think of the best paper you ever wrote in college that you were really proud of because you really went the extra mile on it, and somebody really wanting to talk to you about the depth of that. Well, that's like this, but even bigger, right? Because you're gonna change the world with what you're doing. So this is a good example of one of our portfolio companies. Hopefully some of you know it, SeatGeek. It's one of the largest secondary ticket market providers, and now they're also in the primary tickets for live events. So if you need tickets to anything, SeatGeek's a great place to go. But this is now a company that does billions of dollars in sales in ticketing market, live event market. The founders actually met at Dartmouth. We invested in them about a year after they graduated. So again, founders from colleges doing amazing things, like many of you will. But the thing that really impressed me, and my partner Dave gets the credit for leading this one, but when I sat down with Jack and Russ, the 2 founders of this company, and I started talking to them about how they're acquiring customers, I said, well, tell me about your conversion funnel to getting somebody from a lead to a customer. And they said, oh, it's such a mess. It is totally not where we want it to be. It's actually a train wreck. But here's why it's a total mess. Here's what we're trying to do to solve it. And then I throw out ideas and they'd be like, no, we tried that, but this is why that didn't work, but we think this is gonna work. They were willing to dive in and be vulnerable about the hardest parts of their business. Some people say to me, well, founders pivot all the time anyway, so why does it matter how deep they can go in that meeting? And we say 2 things. One is hope not to pivot. Yes, founders pivot, it's inevitable, but you'd like to not pivot. And then the founders who don't go deep the first time, when you pivot, they're also not gonna go deep. So they're very unlikely to just fall into something extraordinary. The great founders love to talk about the hard parts. All right, lesson 3. There is an adage in venture capital that we think is nonsense. It's that great lemons ripen early. And the venture capital industrial complex, meaning the tide waters of how venture capital works, is largely on the premise that you put some money in right away, and then if it's working, you put more, and you put more, and you put more. You try to own more and more of the company over time if it's going to be a success story, and that the companies show themselves early if they're going to be a success, and if they don't, just let them go. They're not going to be good companies. Our experience is that is true. Some companies become great success stories out of the gate. Other companies take a lot of time, and these are 2 companies that are one's worth over $10 billion, one is worth over $1 billion. Simply and Airtable. Simply is the #1 app in the world for learning to play a musical instrument. Airtable, hopefully some of you use, is probably the best sort of accessible, I don't even know what to call it, like where a spreadsheet meets a database, but so much more than that. These companies took 5 years to get to $1 million in sales. But part of the reason they were able to get there is they didn't overcapitalize the business. They didn't try to take too much money too soon. They didn't start burning a lot of money before they could start proving success. Because if you have $20 million in your company, nobody waits 5 years for you to get to $1 million in sales, and nobody wants to fund the next round at that point. But both of these companies became huge companies, but sometimes it takes time. So don't give away all that sort of early optionality to find how to succeed with your customer by overcapitalizing your business. All right, here's number 4. We believe that thematic investing and even thematic entrepreneurship is a bad idea. So if right now you're focused on being the next great AI startup, not to say you can't create a great AI startup, but most likely that is not where the best startup this year is going to be created. So here's the data we use to support that. We looked at the last 20 years of what the hottest theme was in venture capital. VCs cluster. They love to chase themes. Entrepreneurs like to go where the money is, and VCs like to go where the entrepreneurs are, and that clusters everyone into themes in any given moment. So much so that when you look back now without having done this for many years, it almost seems laughable that people thought group buying was worthy of 150 venture-backed companies, or I don't even know, 20, 50, $100 billion of capital. Of course it's laughable. But some of the ones that maybe some of you remember, right? So, NFTs were a massive theme 2 to 3 years ago. Scooters in 2018 were the hottest theme, not a market you'd want to be in today. And this goes all the way back. So what it turns out is when we map every theme against every year, the best theme of that year, never has the best company of that year emerged from that theme. So what's the one driving right now? The sort of AI craze is OpenAI, ChatGPT, and that company was founded, I think, in 2017. So the themes tend to trail the best companies by a long time. We invested in Uber in 2010, it was founded in 2009, and the sharing economy became the biggest theme in 2014. By then, you're very late. So it doesn't mean you can't build a good AI company right now. I would actually go as far as saying every technology company is going to have AI in their business for a whole lot of reasons. But if it's primarily about being an AI company, at least the data historically does not suggest that the theme everyone wants to talk about is the place where you'll end up building the most successful business. And that's why we try to embrace the weird and wonderful. We think the things that seem weird and wonderful today, when they succeed, will become the successful themes of the future, right? But you have to be willing to embrace these things, these weird things early. And we have a subscription toy company for kids that's doing unbelievably well called Love Every. We have the leading now, and at the time they were just brand new, dog DNA testing company in the world called Embark Veterinarian. We've recently invested in a software company for the waste management industry. Will that become a theme one day? Will that become a huge company? We don't actually know at this stage, but we love the team. They were doing something very unusual, and we thought it was worthy of an investment, so we will see. The next lesson is great startups practice efficient entrepreneurship. The venture capital industry, so when you start a company, you will find it's very hard, for almost everybody, it's very hard to raise money, and you're desperate to find people who want to back you. Once you start proving something works, it flips. All of a sudden, because it's working, everybody wants to give you money. And there's this whole game of maximizing your valuation and getting the most capital. I will say that game is totally toxic. So I've written a ton about this. If anyone's interested, you can look at it. I've written things like toxic venture capital, the marginal dollar problem, venture capital is a hell of a drug. I've written a lot about this. For most companies, venture capital in that way, in that form, that train people get on, doesn't mean you can't take VC, but once you start getting on that train, you start chasing vanity metrics that destroy your business. This is the story of a company called The Trade Desk. Today, The Trade Desk is a $53 billion company. It's one of the most significant top 20 companies in tech in the last 10 years. This company burned $7 million before it went public. $7 million. When we went public, the founder owned more than just about any founder at any company that was venture-backed in that period of time, because the founder wasn't very diluted. Now, he never raised high-price rounds and lots of money, which sounds non-dilutive, but actually doing it this way was unbelievably non-dilutive, right? Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't raise venture capital, everything needs to be a profitable business, not at all, but think of resourcefulness. There's a Scott Belsky, is a friend of mine who's terrific, who's at Adobe, wrote this great book, but he has this theme. He says, resourcefulness is muscle and resources are carbs. You want to build muscle. If you're just burning carbs all the time, you never grow strong. And so we've studied these companies over time that raise tons and tons of money. They're actually less likely to be successful. So think about how to be efficient with your entrepreneurship, how to prove that every dollar you're spending is driving more and more and more success for your business that you can compound over time. And then I want to throw the exception out there to this, which is not one of my lessons. I would still tell you to practice efficient entrepreneurship, but there are certainly very rare companies where the venture capital industrial complex, the tides of how the VC industry works, does work. And we were lucky enough to be Uber investors. And when I talk about efficient entrepreneurship, people say, well, wait a second, Eric, you were an Uber investor. Like they burn tens of billions of dollars. There are those very, very rare exceptions. And those exceptions are the entire reason the venture capital industry operates the way it does. But that doesn't mean you want to be somebody else's lottery ticket, right? What do people do with a lottery ticket when it's not a winner? They throw it in the trash. So it all looks awesome when it's a winner for everybody. I think you want to maintain your optionality and work with partners over time that are thoughtful about the capital they want to put into your company and what it means and how you're going to outpace or outperform the expectations. And then my last lesson is put relationships first. There are a lot of people in this industry who are transactional, and I think the cost of that is massive. My partnership, which is now around for 15 years, 3 of the 4 of us as partners met in business school. Micah Rosenblum and I, who's the guy in the middle, founded Brontes Technologies together in 2002. It's a really long time ago. Dave Frankel, who's in green, was our first investor, and here we are working together 22 years later. That has been the foundation of my entire career, is meeting these extraordinary people, building incredible relationships with them, and investing in each other and supporting each other through that. And truly, the people you're meeting here at Colby, or you will meet in those first 10 years of your career, they will define in many ways where you go and what you do and how you succeed. And so really invest in those relationships. They're absolutely critical. So that's it. That's the 6 lessons I've learned. The idea is a myth. It's about solving the problem and empathy for the customer. You should love talking about the hard parts of your business and focus on those. Give yourself time. Great lemons do not always ripen early. You got to embrace the weird and wonderful. Practice efficient entrepreneurship. And remember, the relationships have to come first. So with that, I will turn it back over to our program, but thank you all and congratulations on what you're doing.
All right. Keep it moving along here. Okay, so we're going to get a bit into what we've accomplished in the last year at the Halloran Lab and what we're hoping to accomplish this year and into the future. Really quickly, just want to start with our motto of learn by doing. There's tons of great frameworks that exist and amazing academic pieces on entrepreneurship, and we believe in those, and we do hope to teach some of those. But there's nothing like learning by doing in the world of entrepreneurship. You can never learn as much as when you're struggling, is when you're trying to overcome, is when you get setbacks and you persevere through them, is when you make pivots and get a complete shift in your perspective from those pivots. And so I'm hoping to walk you through a bit of how we empower our students to learn by doing. Really quickly, and I will blaze through these, we accomplished a lot in a short year. Last year, over 200 students participated in our co-curricular and curricular programming. 70 students took our Jam Plan courses, which were 5 of them. 28 ideas were explored. 17 ventures were created. Within 14 different industries. These students had access to our 98 CHAMP, which are our Halloran Lab mentors, who collectively have over 1,000 years of experience in 20 industries. We distributed $80,000 in non-dilutive grant funding to support these doers. And with over 5,200 newsletter subscribers, we've built a considerable marketing engine, which we use to tell the stories of their entrepreneurs, to highlight our key mentors, to invite broader entrepreneurial ecosystem into our programming, and to inspire additional external engagement, partnership, and mentorship opportunities. We're proud of what we've accomplished, but it's just the start. We hope that in 5 years from now, almost nothing of what we're doing now is recognizable. As I continue to mention, we're a startup, and as such, we need to be nimble, pivot, take feedback, and iterate. So please, do not be scared to reach out to us and provide us feedback. Let us know what we can do better. We're going to take the good, and we're going to flip it on its head so you can't recognize it. We're going to take what's not working, and we're going to throw it out, and then we're going to innovate and invent new things to do. And that's why I hope in 5 years from now, none of it's recognizable. Okay, so the last little bit on last year, there's so many different ways to sort of measure success, especially in the position we're in. Our primary way of measuring success is our engagement with students. That's how we define it. But with that said, there are a couple notable wins from our students from last year that we wanted to highlight. First, Ms. Peggy and Desmond won first place in Maine Venture Fund Startup Challenge. Their idea, Scholar Sheets, is a web-based application using ChatGPT, an AI natural language model, to help international students simplify the search for college scholarships by making it possible for them to filter and sort based on their profile and eligibility. The idea actually came out of the Sure Start program, which is an amazing partnership between the Halloran Lab and the Davis Institute for AI. We ran that program last summer, and we ran it again this summer, where students learn AI programming skills alongside an entrepreneurship curriculum. And so we're hoping this year's students, I think Mickey's in the crowd and a couple others, Katie Bernard, hopefully you'll apply for the Maine Venture Fund and go back to back for Sure Start at the Startup Challenge. So again, you can scan this code to learn more about that, but the application's open October 7th. Jack Richard and Jacob Jew finished first and third place in Greenlight Maine's College Edition, and 6 of the top 10 semifinalists from Greenlight were Colby students. We actually have, where's Nat? We have a couple of folks here from Greenlight Maine. Thank you so much for being here today. Really appreciate your support. You're doing an amazing amount of work to highlight the inspiring entrepreneurs that we have in Maine. It's just really, really commendable. So thank you. Jack, who's also over here right there, wearing his gear. He pitched his upcycled lifestyle brand, Good Balance, which uses fashion as a vehicle to create a social movement and to encourage open-mindedness and versatility. And Jacob Jew, who's not here, he's studying abroad, pitched his eco-friendly headwear company, Patchiosef, which utilizes recycled PET plastic for outer protection and mycelium foam for inner protection to combine helmet-like protection, saying that word a lot, with the comfort and style of everyday hats and beanies. Jack's team, which includes Lee Trombley and Travis Bendler, and Jacob also participated and earned grant funding from our 40K Venture Showcase at the end of last year. So you can go to our YouTube channel and you can watch their full pitches at the Venture Showcase, and I hope you choose to do so. Very inspiring. Okay, I'm gonna blast through this. One definition of success, this is a very messy slide. Again, if students presented this in their pitch, I would tell them to cut it, just get rid of it. But I'm gonna take you two seconds through a high level of this. The x-axis represents a school's entrepreneurship domain. What is the breadth of their entrepreneurship curriculum, co-curriculum, and research? The y-axis represents the school's entrepreneurship dimensions. What is the strength of their commitment to entrepreneurship in the form of resources, infrastructure, stakeholders, and culture building? 2 years ago, we weren't even on the chart. We didn't exist. And last year, we were, which is a huge, huge, huge first step. And many schools start in the lower left quadrant, and they stay there. And that's totally fine. But our goal is to move up and to the right, year after year. We want to become an entrepreneurship hub. That's our long-term definition of success. So entrepreneurs out there, suggest you make big, hard goals and you go after them. That's what we're doing here, and who knows whether we'll succeed, but if we don't have that goal, we have no shot at hitting it. So this year, we've added significantly to our domain with a full semester academic course and additional jam plan courses. We have ramped up our co-curricular programming, and we'll run over 30 high-quality collaborative workshops, hackathons, and treks this year alone. With the help of a terrific team in advancement, some of folks are here, Carol Ann, Eddie, I know you're here, I saw you earlier. We're adding resources. We're in the process of building an external advisory board, and we're strengthening our existing ecosystem partnerships and adding new ones, which will be described in the next slides. With these additional stakeholders, with deeper collaboration with Colby faculty, that's something I definitely want to emphasize. We want to get much, much deeper in integrating with faculty, and we plan to do that. We're here to collaborate. We're not going to think of us as a resource. That's the best way I can say it. If you want something from us, we're going to do everything we can to help you out. So please come and chat with us. That's an area we definitely need to improve upon. We still have a long way to go, but we like our current slope. So a bit more about our key partnerships. We need to leverage the resources that exist out there. We're resource constrained, and there's so many incredible individuals in great organizations doing amazing work. We want to try to tap into that however and whenever possible. I'm going to highlight a couple of those partnerships today. So we launched our Innovation Day, which is an ideathon called Colby Creates. At Colby Creates, students participate in an all-day ideathon with expert-led workshops in customer discovery, design thinking, and crafting investment pitches, while also learning about a specific needs of an emerging technology or industry. Last year, we partnered with Mike Lomas, the senior research scientist and director of the National Center for Marine Algae and Microbiota at the Bigelow Laboratory for Ocean Sciences, as well as senior leadership at Ocean Organics, Atlantic Sea Farms, Maine Shellfish Developers, and Everything Seaweed. I think Mike might be here today. If he's not, I know he was planning on it, but again, want to thank Mike so much for that partnership. At Colby Creates, students learned about key properties and applications of micro and macro algae, and were challenged to create innovative algae-based solutions to problems facing food and feed industries, or to create innovative products or ventures that utilize algae within the food or feed industries. You can click on this code to learn more about Colby Creates, but I'm happy to announce that we were included in Bigelow Labs' NSF eRise grant proposal, and they received or awarded $7 million from the NSF to build the main algal research infrastructure and accelerator called Maria. Maria will strengthen research infrastructure with state-of-the-art equipment, educational programs, and networking opportunities to serve as a nucleus of innovation potential for algae-based solutions in agriculture, aquaculture, energy, and the pharmaceutical sectors. And we're going to work with them, which is really exciting. We're going to develop a 3-part program in entrepreneurship. The first part will be a continuation of Colby Creates, but with additional engagement with Maria research infrastructure, so that students can continue to develop pitched ideas to concrete outcomes. Part 2 will be the development of a jam plan class on algal culture techniques, and Part 3 will include Bigelow-hosted dedicated science days, where aspiring undergraduates can make innovative pitches to investors and entrepreneurs. And in that, we've received over $100,000 of support for these programs for the next 4 years. We're proud to continue to work with Susan Rulin and Garvin Donegan and the amazing folks at Dirigo Labs and Central Maine Growth Council. This fall, Dirigo debuted their Dirigo Launch Incubator, which supports ideation to pre-seed startups, super early stage, with innovative ideas. This 8-week fall program provides workshop, tailored homework, office hours to help startups explore their market, identify target customers, and plan early stage fundraising, along with specialized SBIR and STTR grant support. I'm really excited to announce that 5 Colby students are participating in this 10-team cohort, which is really, really exciting. I'm super, super happy to see what comes of that. We're also working with partners at Kennebec Valley Community College and Thomas College to run our second year of the Back of the Napkin Challenge. You'll see little napkins all over these tables with QR codes. Give them a scan. The Back of the Napkin Challenge invites participants to distill their ideas into a simple sketch on a napkin, accompanied by a 60-second video pitch. Whether it's a novel product or an innovative service or creative solution to a pressing problem, this program provides a unique platform that's low risk and low stakes for students to ideate, to try to come up with something interesting. Applications are due for this program next Friday, September 27th. And this should be a fun and low-stakes way. So what I like to say is pull a half-baked idea out of the oven and serve it up for all of us to enjoy. 10 finalists are going to be selected to present their ventures live at Greenblock Studios downtown from 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday, October 17th. To be eligible, you got to be there in person. And they're going to pitch to a panel of judges. They're going to show their video, and they're going to answer real-time questions. Margaret has been generous and kind enough to be a judge at this panel. But among them will also be Bill Carr, who's a Colby alum and an ex-Amazon VP of Digital Media. He also wrote the book, Working Backwards, and Bill's going to share some valuable insights on innovation, drawing from his experiences very early on in Amazon. So it's going to be a really exciting event. Hopefully people can attend. Okay, so we worked with Davis Connects and the Rue Institute last year. So we took a bunch of students down to the Rue Institute to learn more about their founders' residency programs and to learn more about their graduate programs. And we hope to do that again this year. But I'm really excited to announce that we're going to be launching a summer accelerator with the Rue Institute for undergraduate students who are focused on building companies that are coming from Maine schools or who have ties to Maine in some capacity. So the Pine State Innovation Fellowship will be an immersive 8-week accelerator over the summer that provides students with the tools and resources they need to launch and grow their ventures and social enterprises. So students are going to have access to Rue's space, to a big mentorship network, to dedicated programming, and they're going to have time to interact with other students from other Maine-based schools or for students that have Maine-tied roots. And they're going to have time to actually take their idea from paper and start to build it. That's the hardest thing to do, is to move from an idea to building. So we're really excited about that partnership. And then we're excited about another partnership with Bernstein Schur, a law firm in Portland who has many, many roots to Colby. Joan Fortin, their chair and CEO, is a Colby alum, class of '88. And we've also been working with Tony Perkins, class of '85, to work on a series of legal workshops. The first is about organizational forms, so nonprofits with for-profit subsidiaries, LLCs, proprietorships, SC, B Corps, all that good stuff. Going over those and the implications on those in forms of raising capital and tax implications. We're going to do additional workshops on intellectual property, raising capital, and operational issues. And also there's going to be discounted rates and services for Colby student entrepreneurs, and the Halloran Lab is going to participate in covering some of the costs for their early legal fees should they need them. So these, again, are ways that we're empowering our students to learn by going out there and doing. And then the final partnership, again, I'm going to blast through a lot of this, but this is really exciting. This is a partnership with MIT's Martin Trust Center for Entrepreneurship and all 11 NESCAC schools. We're working to bring all these NESCAC students together to go down to MIT, to leverage MIT's infrastructure and their ecosystem and their mentorship, and hold a Colby Creates like day, but instead of competing against your rivals, these students are going to work together to come up with ideas to solve a social issue. Now, it's in the works. We still have to figure out what's the problem statement, what are they going to be focusing on. But I can tell you it's happening. We're going down there, and I think this is an exciting partnership that's going to last with MIT and with the other NESCAC schools for years to come. Okay. I'm going to take a sip of water. So we're really excited also to announce our Halloran Lab certificate in innovation and entrepreneurship. The word certificate might change. That hasn't been officially approved, so don't hold me to it, but the concept is going to exist. So what does a certificate in innovation and entrepreneurship officially and technically mean, you might ask? Officially and technically, absolutely nothing. It won't be on your transcript. But like most early ventures working to build a brand, it means what you students make it mean. Your future success will give it value. When students with this certificate go out and work for the best companies as entrepreneurs and do incredible things, it gives this certificate meaning. When students with this certificate start nonprofits or social enterprises and positively impact people, community, change the world, it gives it meaning. When they become renowned scientists and discover and apply breakthrough technologies to create new pharmaceuticals or medical devices, it gains meaning. It's all our job to bring meaning to this certificate, and I'm confident that we'll do that. But in the interim, while we're still building the brand, I'm happy to field calls from future employers and sing your praises and tell them what the certificate means in a way that I hopefully they'll appreciate and understand that it's valuable. So how does it work? Basically, you get points for attending events. Smaller events, shorter events, less pre-work, less post-work, fewer points. Big events, all-day things, more points. We want to incentivize you to attend. We put a lot of work into these, and we think they're valuable, the workshops, and we hope you'll come to them. And that's one of our levers we can pull. And so I'll get into our grants in a second, but our first grant, the Ideate and Explore grant, requires 5 Halloran points to apply. Our Campagna Senate Iterate and Expand grant requires 15 points, and then 25 points plus the application to the Campagna Senate Iterate grant is how you access a certificate. So happy to field any questions on that as well. We're going to have you posting things. The students who can't attend events or who are studying abroad, we're going to be posting videos of events and worksheets on our Moodle page so that they can watch that asynchronously, complete the worksheets, and still get points. We want to make sure we're serving students abroad as well. Okay, curricularly, what have we done? Well, we're excited to announce that we are running our first full semester course this fall, Next Capitalism, B Corp Design in Waterville. It's an elective project-based course designed to guide students through the process of developing a new public benefits corp, business, organization, or product or service. It's being taught by Thomas Kennan, who's a practitioner adjunct at the Katz School of Science and Health at Yeshiva University in New York, and also NYU School of Professional Studies. He's taught 2 Jam-Plan courses, and he's the author of the book, The Bigger Leap and Ethics of Next Capitalism. So we're really excited to have that full semester course, and we'll see how it goes. I won't get into all of the weeds on our Jam-Plan courses, but we had 5 last year. We hope to have some different ones, add some additional ones this year. I'm excited. Ken El Sharif is doing a workshop. He's a parent as well, doing a workshop on marketing, but he's also going to be hopefully teaching a course in entrepreneurship and healthcare. Bob Martin is going to hopefully be doing a new course on the innovator's dilemma. And so these are really, really exciting opportunities, and hopefully students will sign up and take these as well. Okay, so I'm going to go through these events. I promise you I'm almost done. I'm flying through it. These are just a selection of our fall events. Like, we have a lot planned, and definitely wasn't getting in the second half of the year, but this isn't all of them. Graham Powis, who's here today, is going to do a workshop next week with the Innovation Club. That's not on this list. There's a yoga workshop. Emily Fleming, a Colby alum, who's going to be building resilience with the Student Innovation Club, also not on this list. So there's a lot more that aren't here, but we're going to go through these quickly. The Innovation Club's kicking off. I'll let them tell you about that. Back to the Napkin Challenge, we already covered that. Legal Workshop, covered that. We're launched, as of the end of this month, students can apply for the Ideate and Explore grant. So what is that grant? It's really the early entry into our organization. It's really, to apply for it, you have to have 5 Halloran points. But it's really a way to start to explore an idea. It's low stakes. You have to have done some customer discovery. You have to report on that. You have to complete a business model canvas. You got to have some meetings with our EIR, John Godbout. You've got to meet with me to go over it. But then you get access to $500 to go out and start to build, start to explore. So we're excited. We had, I think it was 14 applicants to that last year, and we hope to have at least 25 this year. Then we have the Marketing Workshop 101 in October. We've got this nonprofit workshop I described as well. Really excited. We're going to have executive directors and CEOs and founders of 5 nonprofits, including Prosperity Maine, Booth-Based Sea and Science Center, Waterville Creates, Blueprint Maine, and the Elm City Music School here. And we want to do as much as we can to start to inspire students who are focused on building social enterprises and nonprofits. We're here to support you as well. And I think those students can learn a ton from this workshop and from mentorship connections that we hope to help you form. Again, back to the Napkin Finals. I'm going to go through this quickly. We're taking a bunch of students down to BU, big bus to BU's IdeaCon, which is a undergraduate entrepreneurship conference led by students. We took some students last year and they had a great time, so we're going to continue to do that type of trek and additional treks in the future. Our AIR, Eliza is here as well. She's going to be doing a workshop on the 4 Ps and 5 Cs. If you don't know what those are, you should go ask her. Good way to break the ice. She'll tell you more about that. We've got another workshop partnering with Davis Connects, helping students realize that there are plenty of tech jobs out there beyond just product roles, and that many companies are actually looking for Colby students, liberal arts students, for these roles. And so go-to-market roles especially. So he'll be doing a great workshop on that. Another EIR, Drew McKechnie, is going to be doing a workshop on product solution fit, behavioral segmentation, and Porter's 5 Forces, all about go-to-market strategy. And then we have our Campagna Senate Iterate and Expand grant. This is an important grant. It was made available through the generosity of Bob and Joan Campagna and their endowed gift to our lab. This grant is intended for teams that have already identified an unmet need and are ready to test a value proposition for their product or service. It may involve building a prototype or an MVP, minimally viable product, to test their product market fit. We had 7 teams apply last year, and we're hoping for 15 this year. And I won't get into the details of how to apply, but the important part is, come ask me more. The major piece of the application is a full 10-minute investment-like pitch. And so last year we ran this on a continual basis. This year we're going to do it once per semester. Students are going to record their pitch in advance. There's going to be a round of asynchronous review that's going to go out to a panel of 10 to 20 different evaluators. Those evaluators are going to give you great feedback and score you. And if you cross the threshold, then you're going to be asked or invited to pitch live for up to $5,000. And if you don't, then you're going to have gotten great head start. You're going to get good feedback on how you can improve, and you're invited to apply the next semester, the next cycle. And I think I covered most of that. Again, the application for the Pine State Fellowship is mid-December. The hackathon in April. And then again, I just want to put the date out here. We're going to be running the Iterate and Expand grant 2 times, once per semester. So look to that in April as well. And then finally, our year-end pitch competition like we ran last year. We're going to be holding that at the end of April. We held it in May last year. It was a little late, a little close to finals. So we're going to move things up, do things a bit quicker. But we're super excited. Again, check out our YouTube channel. You'll see some of the amazing pitches that were presented last year. 2 more slides, and then I'm turning it over. Startup Tree, this is a super important resource. This is where we manage everything. This is a platform where students can connect with each other. There's over 260 students on the platform. This is where all of our champ mentors are. Almost 100 mentors, many of whom are here today, are there. Students can book time directly with those mentors. Their calendars are synced. It's a really great way to access this intense mentorship network we're building. And this is also where they apply for grants, and they can learn about all of our upcoming events. So this is what it looks like. Students, if you scan this QR code, if you tag us on Instagram, upload a photo, you're entered into a raffle to win some great Halloran swag. And then finally, I want to let you know about our Halloran Lab knowledge base. So this is a comprehensive resource hub we've built. It features 7 high-level topics, 40 subtopics, 20 worksheets, and over 600 curated and summarized articles and videos. There's a lot of crap out there on the web about entrepreneurship, and we made a lot of work, spent a lot of effort to find the best of what's out there and available, and to pull it in and to make it organized so that students, faculty, staff can engage in a self-directed learning journey to accompany all of our co-curricular and curricular programming. We're also excited to partner with a student, Sardor, and his generative AI startup, Cadence AI. We'll be hoping to add an AI-powered chatbot into our knowledge base so that our students can interact with it. And I'd just be thrilled to have a partnership with a student who's building something real-time in our knowledge base. Again, these are all our channels. Find us. You know where to find us. So that's what I have as far as what we've been up to and what we're hoping to get up to. But now for the exciting part of the program, and we're coming to an end. But we have the student presentations. So next up is Wyatt Toon. Wyatt was part of our 2024 Halloran Lab Venture Showcase. He's part of the winning team. He's the co-founder of Inavo Energy. Welcome, Wyatt, come on up. If you want this.
I do want it.
I know you do.
Of course. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming. And I'm excited to talk about Inavo Energy, which is my project. And our goal is to connect solar installers to quality leads and system blueprinting technology. So before we get into it, I'll just say a little bit about the team. Again, my name is Wyatt Toon. I'm a current junior here at Colby. And I co-founded Inavo back during my freshman year with Yusuf Mustafa, who unfortunately could not make it because he is currently in Prague studying abroad. So I'm sure he would much rather be here. But I figured the way that I'd set up this presentation is I'll take you through sort of a mini pitch of sort of the problems that Inavo hopes to solve, and then afterwards I'll give you an overview of how we spent the last 3 months and some takeaways from that. So first, let's imagine that you're a homeowner who's interested in installing solar panels on your house. Now, the first question that you're naturally going to ask yourself is, what is the best solar panel that I can put on my house? But you don't have a technical background in energy, and you have no idea of how to answer this question. More of these questions start popping up, like what is my exact roof angle, what proportion of my roof faces south, and how many hours of sunlight do I get per day? And as you delve further and further into the process, the number of questions continues to multiply, and after a while, you just begin to feel lost. Now let's imagine that you're a solar installer who's marketing to homeowners like this. There's clearly an information barrier, and it's causing you to receive fewer and lower quality leads. Ryan Gehegan is a solar consultant, and he told us that it's a relationship problem, and people just don't see the benefits of renewables. These installers are now having to drive further and further distances just to be able to do their jobs. Ryan Gehegan also told us that oftentimes he uses 2 tanks of gas in a single day, just going from site to site. And we had more installer testimonials to back us up on this. Chris Byers is a developer who's been in the industry for over 10 years. And he told us that dealing with ambiguity is the most difficult part of his job and that people don't know what they're talking about. Andrew Keller is a self-proclaimed green capitalist, is what he told me. And he said that it's frustrating to get information access to solar for residences, for commercial entities, and for industrial ones. Tyler Adkins is a small-scale renewable project manager. He operates almost exclusively in Maine. And he told us that there's definitely a disparity of knowledge between the people, the developers, and the utilities. And then I'll throw in one more Ryan Gehegan quote. He told us that energy prices are super, super complex, and that there is definitely a social and public disconnect. And our solution to these problems is our project Anavo, and using a combination of weather, solar, housing APIs, and other software streams, we generate a complete solar portfolio for the homeowner, and that's coupled with instantaneous installer quotations. And the installers also benefit for this because they get blueprinting and site design technology that help design these solar systems remotely instead of having to get up on roofs and having to do pencil and paper analyses. And they also get verified lead generation, so they get more reliable leads and they get a better capacity to be able to start further projects. And I'll just give you a little quick sneak peek at what our platform actually looks like during the pitch competition in May. There was nothing. We didn't have anything. We were working completely off of market research and a couple of basic mock-ups that we had given to the Halloran Lab mentors, but we didn't have anything developed yet. And I ultimately think this worked to our advantage because it allowed us to focus on the one thing that really matters the most when you're building a business, and that is meeting the unmet need of the customer, which is something Jeremy told me the first time that I met him. And once we had that down, then we were able to sort of generate and formulate a better plan of how we were going to move through the summer and hope from there to create a tangible product that we could sell to people. And the first step of this involved one final round of market research because we had to be sure that both the homeowner and the installer would be willing to pay for our service. And we contacted a variety of solar companies such as National Grid, Maine Solar Solutions, and a myriad of homeowners who told us about their experiences within the solar industry as well as what they might like to see in it coming in the future. And immediately we ran into some conversion issues where we would email 60 or 70 solar installers and we'd receive responses from 2 or 3. And we quickly realized that the best way to leverage market research was to utilize our organic connections, such as our mentors, our friends, people that we knew within the industry, because if they couldn't give us information, then they would be willing to vouch for us and give us contacts that we could get insightful and valuable information from. And for those of you who were at the pitch competition in May, I will address the elephant in the room that we also changed our name quickly after the pitch competition from Modum to Anavo Energy. And if any of you liked the name Modum, then you can feel free to talk to me about it after this presentation. But after we took our insights from our market research and we used them to sort of quantify some features that we thought could competitively differentiate us from existing solar marketplaces such as Energy Sage or Solar.com or other platforms like that. And the first thing that I want to mention is a focus on user and homeowner privacy. I personally signed up for a lot of these existing solar marketplaces, and the number one thing that I experienced was calls and emails and contacts from people who I did not know, and I did not give them my permission to use my data. And that obviously made me less inclined to then go and do business with these companies. So Anavo hopes to solve this by giving the homeowner the permission to contact which installers they want and allowing them to have the data security in their hands instead of the wider internet's hands. And this also improves the quality of the leads that the installers do get because once a homeowner gives permission to be contacted, the installer can know that the homeowner is already interested. Also, a instantaneous lead turnaround time helps with the overall installation speed of a solar installation, and it helps the solar installer be able to capitalize on the purchasing window of the homeowner and generate more projects overall. And lastly, a lot of the existing solar marketplaces don't have any solar imagery, and they don't have any advanced sort of overlays of solar onto a house. And this is often the most important part in knowing what a solar installation will look like. So we hope to have those images overlaid in our marketplace for both the installers and the homeowners. And the most important part of our prototyping process over the summer was the actual development of the technology. And the first thing that I learned from this is that people, or the tech that you develop, is going to change. And everything that you think you are going to use to develop, you probably will not. And a perfect example that I like to use is SAM, or the System Advisory Model. SAM is a government-backed solar database that lets you generate PV systems based on a wide variety of inputs. And the data is very comprehensive, but as you can see in the image, there's a lot of inputs required for one output. And this is also in tandem with over 20 other programs that we needed to standardize just to do one home analysis. So instead, we switched over to doing Google Solar, where we sacrificed some of the comprehensiveness of the data, but we made up for it for flexibility and a better use of our team's time and resources. And with that in mind, this is a current look at what our website looks like. This is completely self-built, self-made, and it serves, in my eyes, as a foundation for future development to come. And this took us about 6 weeks to make. It took a lot of sweat and sometimes tears. And we found that this was crucial for our future development, but that ultimately moving forward, the best option was to hire an outside developer. And so we ended up doing that so we could focus our time and our resources on other part of the company. And what this looks like, the first round of the contracting process, which we began in around mid-July, was formalizing our company information. And this was a lot of logical processes, a lot of Google Doc generation, and other nitty-gritty details that we hadn't necessarily thought about before. And although this allowed for third-party eyes who had never heard of or seen our project before to understand, it also gave us a big capacity to understand where our blind sites were and what we hadn't realized before, and any potential small problems that could have proven bigger in the future. And the next part of this was choosing an agency. The first step of this process was deciding whether to go with a domestic or an international hire and the rates that were associated with that, as well as to pursue an individual freelance contractor or a wider agency. And ultimately, we decided to go with an American-based company called Gun.io. And then the last and lengthiest process of the contracting was actually interviewing and engaging in negotiations. After we settled on working with Gun.io, we interviewed a wide variety of people from different backgrounds, different skill levels from all around the world, and we quickly found that we needed to constrict exactly what we wanted in a contractor. And we ended up having to do second, third, and fourth rounds of interviews, which was much more than we expected. And then after we finally found someone who fit our needs and fit our specifications, we had to engage in a very lengthy price negotiation with them, which we also did not anticipate and was definitely outside of my comfort zone. But the contractor, the developer, is now working. They just started at the end of August, and we hope to have a final MVP out by around 1 month from now, hopefully around mid-October. And overall, I'll just give you some takeaways of what I learned throughout the summer as a new entrepreneur, and maybe some things that other Colby students could learn from. The first, as I said before, is everything is going to take longer than you think. And you're inevitably going to run into problems, and you're going to run into obstacles, and that's not to discourage you, but that is to realize that this is not a smooth process whatsoever. And I just evidenced that with the 8-week contracting that we had to go through. And the second is that your relationships are paramount. Whether it's through market research or whether it's through industry entrance or just for mentorship, your relationships that you develop are crucial in order to further sustain and grow your business. Third, this is similar to the first point, pivots are constant. Some are big, some are small, some other people recognize and some other people do not. But they are constant and they are always moving forward. And I know that me and Yusuf, we pivoted many, many times over the course of the summer, and ultimately it has proven useful to the end that we're at now. And lastly is realize the moments that you're in and appreciate where you are. And if it goes no farther than where you are now, then appreciate that you got where you did. And be passionate. I thought I would close out the presentation with some evidence of our passion. The first is Yusuf telling me that if we ended up becoming billionaires, he would run a farm on the side as a hobby, which I thought was pretty funny. And then the second was the time change difference. Yusuf is from Egypt, and I often found myself texting him, sure that he would be asleep, and he was not. It was the middle of the night in Egypt, and he was still awake and working on integrating an API into our website. And the third, and my personal favorite, is our conversations with Jeremy, where many different times we would edit a presentation, and Jeremy's feedback was always very useful to us. So I'd like to thank Jeremy specifically. And yeah, that's all, and I would highly recommend you scan these QR codes. Our website is the one on the left, and our mailing list is the one on the right, and just a special thanks to all of the friends and mentors that we have and any other Anavo supporters. So thank you guys.
All right, we're coming to an end. Oops. Next up, Bibachu and Joe, Davis Project for Peace Award winners. We're going to tell you about the summer they spent in Nepal. I'll tell you too. They're going to show a bit of a video. It's actually running.
Yeah, I could redo that, actually.
It's going to be hard to see from the back, but if you can, yes. They'll tell you all about it.
Sweet. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Spending the afternoon with the Halloran Lab. We are so excited to be here and just give you a little brief intro into our project. So we got a Davis Project for Peace fund of $10,000 for our project Digital Kisan. And yeah, we're just going to give you a brief overview of that and a little piece of our documentary.
Just a little introduction. So I'm Bibachu, and I'm a senior right now. I'm from Nepal, and I'm majoring in Science, Technology, and Society and Computer Science. And on campus, I'm involved in a couple other things like student government, a lot of fun, spike ball and water polo. I love being out on the lawn. And
Yeah, and my name is Joe. I'm originally from Maine, Freedom, Maine, which is about 30 minutes east. And I was raised on a farm there. And at Colby, I'm a senior as well, majoring in government and study a lot of sociology and government, that kind of stuff.
yeah, so this summer, Joe and I won a little grant. It's from the Projects for Peace Foundation, and it's a $10,000 grant. Each year, they grant about $1.25 million to 125 student leaders from around the United States. And we're one of those two student leaders. And we decided to travel to Nepal and do a little social impact project. And one of the products has been filming a documentary. And we don't want to show you the full documentary because we're doing a screening tomorrow. So if you're around, please feel free to come by. It's only 16 minutes long. We have a little panel as well with a Colby alum who has offered to moderate the panel. It's at 8:30 p.m. at Ostrov Auditorium Diamond, and we're also screening on Saturday at 7 p.m. So you'll have that opportunity, but for now, we want to show you a little teaser.
दोलखा अत्यन्तै सुन्दर जिल्ला हो। People are very nice people here, living here in Dolakha. You can look at me.
yeah, so again, we're going to be screening that tomorrow at 8:30 and Saturday at 7 in Ostrov and Diamond. So we'd love to have anyone there. We're love answering questions and talking more about it. This is just a little brief summary of what we did, but we wanted to give you all just a little look into that, some of the things that helped us succeed, and then some of the struggles that we encountered along the way. Yeah, so our introduction. Believe it or not, it all started out there, just sitting around. Oftentimes, this was our sophomore year of college at Colby, and we started bouncing these ideas around. It was a lot of just kind of throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what would stick. It was a hard process for sure. We were trying to figure out, we both knew we wanted to try to do something impactful in our time at Colby, take advantage of all the resources and opportunities we've had here, but that was pretty challenging to know kind of how to best do that and how to take advantage of those things. So we were thinking about a lot of things. We did a lot of brainstorming, a lot of late nights in common rooms, just chatting and kind of thinking about what we could do and kind of how our identities and interests would intersect to bring us to a project that really meant something to us rather than something that we just thought might be cool. And so, yeah, we finally got to this idea of Digital Kisan.
Yeah, truly, I do think it was a story of when two worlds collide. The picture is not loading. This, presentation has not been the best, but I can tell this story. Oh, yep, there's a picture. So Joe comes from Freedom Main, and I'm from Kathmandu, Nepal. So obviously there's this like big gap of 8,000 miles and just 19 years of different cultural stories. But during the vacation, for example, on Thanksgiving break, I don't really have a place to go. So Joe would invite me to his house. I'd go to his house, and he has this like really beautiful farm. And I would basically like help them out in the farm or kind of walk around with them, and like he would tell me all about the farming practices. And for me, that was very interesting because Nepal is an agriculturalist country. 70% of the population is involved in agriculture, yet there's not enough production for everyone. So for me, that was a very fascinating thing to hear about, and I told him about the farming practices that were being done in Nepal, and he was like, that sounds very redundant, and it does not really seem like they're making the most out of their soil, et cetera, et cetera. So we would just like discuss through those knowledges and exchange our ideas. And that's sort of like when this idea sort of came through as well. Like Joe has this farming background, and I just wanted to go back home and share anything that I've learned in the United States in the past, what I've learned here in the past 3 years. And we decided to merge our backgrounds, and we came up with this project.
Yeah, so the basic principle, we tried to do a lot of research into what farmers were encountering in Nepal and what kind of the main issues were. One of the biggest ones that we encountered was market access. A lot of people have access to the internet, they have cell phones, and they're able to do some searches, but their data is really limited. They pay per gigabyte usually. And so accessing the market, especially in rural areas, is really hard. They don't always have that stable access to the internet even, and then they don't know often how to research the market, what are prices, what things are selling really well versus what is flooded in the market. And so that was kind of our main thing we focused in on, was how can we give people in these rural communities stable access to internet in order to access the market, research what they might be able to grow that they could sell in bigger cities, because a lot of farmers there are just subsistence farming right now, so they just grow for themselves and aren't growing to sell because they don't have any market to sell to. Everyone in their area is also farming and growing, and they're not really able to make money off their farming. But with this access to the market, we hope that we can provide them more opportunities to increase their income, access the market more, and sell in the bigger cities, and hopefully bring up their families through these farming practices that they've had for many, many years and passed down. Yeah, and so the main premise was we wanted to connect homes to the internet, so we selected a community in rural Nepal. We started working with a nonprofit there, and we selected 17 homes there, a veterinary clinic, an old folks support home, and a hospital. And so we were able to provide 20 different places of access to Wi-Fi. So these 17 homes and the 3 other places, we connected them all to Wi-Fi. None of those places had Wi-Fi before. And so we were able to connect them all to Wi-Fi and give them great access. And then we also provided some training of how to use this internet to their benefit. So that was our biggest accomplishment of the project, and something that we weren't really sure if it was going to happen really till the end. We worked really, really hard to get it to that point once we were there, finding the right community first, connecting with leaders there, and then being able to execute and actually bring Wi-Fi to these homes that previously didn't have it. And it was really powerful to see how much people were excited about it and how much it meant to them once they saw the Wi-Fi coming into their own communities.
Yeah, and there were 3 things that helped us succeed in this process. And number 1, absolutely, was just a big dream to make an impact in the world. For both of us, Colby has meant a very special place. We have learned a lot of things, and we're just very, very passionate about wanting to make an impact in the world. For us, it's both of us, it's a key value that we want to be the impact and the change that we want to see in the world. And we are truly lucky to be getting an education at a place like Colby that has just such wonderful resources like the Halloran Lab and many other things. And we just wanted to make sure that we're using it in the proper way we can. And we thought junior summer is the best time to do it. We don't have financial responsibilities, we don't have family responsibilities. Let's just go out there and do something that's impactful. And that was our number one step, and it guided us through everything else.
Yeah, number 2 was a whole lot of hard work, as other people have talked about, just that importance of really committing to what you're doing and just going all in. We spent a lot of time beforehand prepping. We had a lot of great support from some advisors here, talking, trying to refine our ideas. And then we first had to apply through Colby, and then once we got through that application process, Colby nominated us, then we had to apply to the Davis Project for Peace Fund itself, and they awarded us the fund. So it was a lot of rethinking about our ideas, innovating, trying to figure out how we can make this the most impactful in the time that we're there and the most long-lasting. So that was a big challenge, but it was really great work. We learned a lot from it. I would say we just did a lot of rethinking and a lot of, just like, all right, start over. How can we make this really impactful? And then certainly once we got there, it was a lot more of talking to as many people as we can, building a network of people that were there to support us, and it was really, really powerful just to talk to a lot of people and spend every minute we had essentially on the move and doing networking or working really hard and going to the community.
Yeah, and I think today everyone has sort of put in the term relationships, and I want to echo that again because strong network was so crucial to our success. And we want to say we started our networking 48 hours. No, so our flight from here was 48 hours to Kathmandu, Nepal, and right after like 10 hours of sleep, we're out on the field networking. And yeah, without the people, would not have been possible. We knew what community we were targeting when we got to Nepal, but we had no idea how we were gonna even like go and talk to the people. So like we're looking for nonprofits. We went around the city asking people that I knew growing up, and they would connect us to someone else, and that person to someone else. And it was kind of like a chain. And eventually we ended up connecting with all the right people who put us in the right place to do the exact right thing that we wanted. And to put it in perspective, a Colby class of 91 reached out to us on LinkedIn, and he has been living in Nepal for 25 years, speaks perfect Nepalese, and the odds are basically he is also the key USAID grant person in Nepal, focusing on agriculture, and he became our key guide and like mentor throughout the process. He told us all about the agricultural market access in Nepal and how we can like leverage this time that we had to make the most impact that we could in the most sustainable way. So network, like it was truly just so special to have the support.
Yeah, and then finally, I mean, some of the struggles we encountered, a few just to mention them because it's really important. It was definitely challenging just coming up with the right idea. First of all, we spent a lot of time doing that and got a lot of help. And then certainly now, once we were there, we worked really hard to accomplish things we did, connect to 20 different places, to Wi-Fi. But one of our biggest recent challenges obviously has been, where do we go from here? We're back in the US, we're back to school, we're back to our busy lives, but we really don't want to just have gone and come back and have no long-lasting impact. So first of all, we connected with some youth in the community. They've been working really hard, so we got them into the project, and they've been working to help the farmers, support them, build a website, support them with any tech problems they have, and with marketing on social media. So that was kind of one step. And then our second step was bringing the documentary back. So we invested in that as a piece of marketing essentially and knowledge sharing. So we wanted to bring that back to the US to be able to share with a broader audience, and then also fundraise using that in order to continue to support the community, because we paid for Wi-Fi for a year, but after that will expire, and our goal is to be able to keep helping to subsidize for a couple more years for the farmers to have time to access the market, learn, and then grow their production to hopefully to a point obviously where they could then afford to pay for their own Wi-Fi. We don't want to do it forever, but we understand that 1 year is not always enough to have big scale change in something like this. So that's our long-term goal, and we're using the documentary as a tool to do that.
Yeah, and Halloran Lab is basically, they have been our mentors since we have arrived back in the US to continue this sustainability piece. We're still thinking about, do we want to move forward as a social enterprise or like a nonprofit, but they have been basically helping us think through some of these problems and think about how we can keep making our impact in the community back in Nepal. Some of the ideas that have been thrown around has also been like maybe starting a jam tent where other Colby students can go and work in the community, and Jeremy has just been like really, really wonderful mentoring us through this process.
Yeah. So this is our link to scan and donate, and also learn a little bit more. If you're not able to make it to the documentary, we'd love to have people learning about this, sharing this around to different people, and just getting out in the community. We only have, limited time and ability to share with our networks here, but the biggest thing you can do for us is to share our message and our work out to the people that you know, and just get the word out there. And we'd be really honored to have that shared around. So we really appreciate that, and yeah, it's an honor to be here. So thank you all for listening and hearing what we did.
Okay, as I said, always have to evaluate and iterate. Iteration for next year, shorter program, cooler day. But we've got one last 3 or 4 minute quick presentation, and then we'll be done and we'll get you out of here just about 5 minutes after 3. So, Innovation Club, leadership, come on up.
I'd like to say congratulations that you've made it through this hot day in this program. We're almost done. You can get the AC very soon. But we're the Innovation Club, so we're a collective of entrepreneurs on campus that look to be inclusive of people of all different identities and backgrounds. So me and Carter are the co-presidents, and we also have Amanda, who had to leave, unfortunately, to go to a meeting, but she is our vice president. So a little bit about myself. I'm a senior. I'm from Massachusetts, and that's my brand over there. I won't yap about it too much, but it's an experience-driven fashion boutique committed to inclusivity and sustainability. Other things I do on campus, I'm part of In Tandem, which is a creative collective on campus of artists. I would consider us a collective of real corner benders, not people who really cut corners, but use institutions and mold these institutional structures to benefit our needs through the arts.
Hello. My name is Carter. I'm a sophomore. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm a double major in economics and government. On campus here at Colby, I'm a member of the club soccer team. I'm a sexual violence prevention peer educator. I was awarded the Ohanian Shostak Fellowship for Civic Engagement to work on my startup, Ascent, aiming to revolutionize philanthropy and change the way society perceives charitable giving. A little introduction for Amanda, who, as Jack said, unfortunately had to leave. She is a junior. She is involved in basically everything at Colby. We had to cut down her bio because it would have taken up seriously 2 slides. She's incredible. She was cooking for our booth over there for the Innovation Club for 2 hours, so huge thanks to her. She's been an incredible help. But yeah, like we said, we don't want to take too much of your time, so we'll get talking. So the Innovation Club, we're in our 2nd year now. We were founded in the spring of last year. There were about 4 of us who started the club, and now there's 3 of us leading it. And our mission is to spark innovative and creative thinking in Colby students through collaboration with students, successful alumni, industry leaders, and more. And what we really want to do is create a safe place, an inclusive place for all people to come and participate in the sharing of ideas and the collaboration of ideas, networking, whatever that may be, for students to help develop their futures and come together in a place where we can really collaborate and make really cool things happen. And so what we like to say to students who are pitching to join our email list, which now has 300 followers, which we're very proud of, is that if you have an idea, if you have a creative bone in your body, we can make something happen for you, whether it's a workshop with doctors, with PhDs in whatever field you can think of, theologians, finance executives, entrepreneurs, seriously, whatever that may be, arts executives. We want to cater to the students and make innovation work for everybody. Jack's going to talk a little bit about where we've been, where we are now.
Yeah, so this all started last semester, believe it or not, in February. Josh Kim, who graduated the fall semester, came up to me and Carter, and then also someone who's up leading us at the time, Dave. And his passion for bringing innovators on campus together just sparked our passion as well. So he founded it. We had a dinner of around 20 people in Bob's private dining hall, and it was just a room full of passionate individuals ready to create new things and solve problems. So we had our kickoff event shortly thereafter, which involved some team building activities, very low stakes. We build marshmallow and spaghetti towers, we did egg drop competitions, paper airplane competitions, and we gave away some cool prizes. So you know, a little bit of incentive. And then probably the coolest event that we did in collaboration with the Halloran Lab was Match Madness. So with Match Madness, we had our startup founders in the middle, and we had independent people that were interested in helping out these startup founders on the outside. So it was a speed dating activity where you had 3 minutes to talk to each founder. And I found people that helped me do 3D modeling. Carter found people that helped him with his business as well. So we look to do that again this year. Also, beginning this semester, we had the engagement fair, which, you know, Carter hinted at over 300 members of our club now. You know, a good chunk of those are now freshmen. So people are ready to take on those 4 years of Colby College with the innovation in mind. So that was an incredible experience. And now we're at Halloran Lab year 2, and we're ready to really take on this semester and just keep gaining traction, keep instilling these ideals of entrepreneurship and this passion to create on campus.
Yeah, so we have a lot of really, really exciting events planned this year. We're going to be doing, like Jeremy said, we have a yoga event teaching mindfulness from an entrepreneur who started her own yoga company and mindfulness company. Okay, go for it, sorry. We're going to have executives come in. Like Jeremy also said, tomorrow, Graham Powis, who was here today, I don't see him anymore. He's coming in to talk to a group of about 25 of us. We're fully booked for that, and he's going to talk about his experience on Wall Street as a managing partner of Brookline Capital Markets and his experience in the world of finance. We're going to bring in people who were on Shark Tank. We're going to bring in entrepreneurs, politicians, people who worked core to the Obama administration. Senior advisor to Hillary Clinton is going to come speak with us. A lot of people across varying industries. And then we're also going to alternate. We're going to do very unserious events. We're going to hold pitch competitions. We're going to hold team building and idea competitions. And we're going to give away TVs, AirPods, things that'll bring a lot of students in, because we know that it's hard to get involved, especially as freshmen. I was a freshman last year. It took me about 6 months to join my first club, and here I am about 6 months later starting a club. So really trying to help bridge that gap between stage 1 to really getting involved on campus.
Yeah, and the big goal is to grow this community, right? Reaching people of different backgrounds, different identities on campus. And we're going to do that through club collaborations. So like I said, the creative collective that I'm a part of on campus, we look to collaborate with people in that club and do these workshops, say with artists, with designers, so we can now make this Colby community unified.
So just a bit of a teaser for our kickoff event. It's going to be next Thursday, a week from today, September 26th from 6:30 to 8. Location is to be determined. We're going to have a lot of very fun games, a lot of very big prizes. Our goal is to set a Colby College Club attendance record. I don't even know if that's a thing, but that's what we're going to say, to try to bring in people. Our goal is 50. If we get 50 people, we're going to be giving away some prizes that we're not going to disclose, and we're also not going to disclose the events, because last year we told people we were doing Colby College Jeopardy, and people did their homework, and you could tell that there was one team who had some superior knowledge to other teams when it came to Colby College Jeopardy. But yeah, we have a lot of really fun events, and we have a lot of freshman attention specifically, and we're going to try to really start building a network. Freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors. I think about half of our club right now is freshmen. We're really looking to leverage that in the coming years. But yeah, that's all we have for you guys. We really thank you all for coming out. It's been really incredible to see all the students, faculty, everyone who's been a part of the Halloran Lab and contributed to our journey so far. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Okay, that's it. Thank you all so much for coming today. Can't thank you enough. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a terrific rest of your day. Get out and enjoy some of the sunlight, and hope you have a great homecoming weekend. So again, thank you very much. Really truly appreciate it. Have a great day.